Can you talk about the how the communities, the surrounding communities to where we are now, we're on Hood Canal, if there is an accident, an explosion at the base here, how are they notified beyond seeing the explosion themselves? What measures are there to protect the people that live nearby?
Well, they're not notified. At the like I say, at the two wharves together, if there's missile handling at one time, is 7.4 million pounds of TNT. If both submarines were to mass detonate, and the Navy seemed to have the foresight to know this because they bought land on the other side of Hood Canal that belongs to the Navy. That the explosive handling arc fits perfectly in that property, but it doesn't fit on the north side. And there, as a result of the lawsuit, there was a record released, and a guy said this actually recently, in the last couple of years. He said the base should have been 1.3 miles longer to handle all the explosives in here. So on the north end of the base, there's actually homes. I think it's something like 136 homes that are inside the explosive handling arc for these wharves. The Navy actually does not want the public to know about emergency programs. They filed a lawsuit. I did a public records request to Kitsap County Department of Emergency Management, and they were in the process of releasing records to me through the State Public Records Act. And the feds filed a lawsuit in federal court to stop that. And in fact, the thing is still going. This was, if I remember right, I think it was like January 2015. I think I filed a request, and I've done requests before, but this is like a new one. And the Navy, it was the Department of Justice attorneys in Seattle filed for an injunction. What we finally did, there was another reporter who was trying to get the same records, Ed Friedrich with the Kitsap Sun, and we, as a result of this attempt to get a permanent injunction, we both withdrew our requests, which made the court case moot. But they still, I had to file I had to join the court case to fight that they dismissed the case, because I was afraid Kitsap County was going to make an agreement with the Navy. So anyway, short story, the public doesn't know. I do have a record that shows they're supposed to listen to a couple radio stations if there's an accident, but they never explain what the issues are. There's zones that are radiological emergency zones. They never explain what would cause that, what you're supposed to. Well, actually, in the records, there's two things you can do. You can shelter in place, which is, and I guess you're supposed to know you're supposed to have duct tape or something, and duct tape up your doors and stuff. Or they'll tell you to leave immediately. But you have to listen to two radio stations, and I would be surprised if the radio stations even know they're supposed to make these announcements. And no one knows it anyway. One of the emergency protective zones is there's an elementary school that's within the zone, and I made a public records request to the school district if they knew anything about this, and they didn't. They didn't have any knowledge whatsoever that they were in a protective zone, a radiological zone, potential radiological zone, or if there's something they're supposed to do if there's an accident. And that's it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate that civic leaders don't press for more information. One example: the Department of Energy at the Pantex plant in Texas, near Amarillo, Texas, where they handle all the nuclear warheads. They have a detailed emergency response plan, and it's right on their website. If you go to their website, they have the areas around the plant broken down into zones, and they'll tell you where to head out of town, basically. And so they're very clear about it, and they say that this is all roads lead to Pantex is their motto, and they're talking about nuclear weapons. But the Navy is very different. The Department of Defense is very different. You know, they claim that it's national security, but I don't think it is. They just don't want the public to know what the threat is. The support from the community is so important to them.